Hi there, my name is Brett Bell. I'm the Deputy Assistant to the City Manager for the City of Savannah. I'm here today with our fairly new City Manager, Rob Hernandez. Rob, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Brett. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being with us. You're a busy guy. This is just a get to know you.
Okay.
We'd like to introduce you to the public and then
Right.
let you get on to the business of running the City of Savannah.
Oh, great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Tell us a little bit about your background, where you're coming from, and what your experience is.
Well, Brett, I've been city manager here for the city of Savannah just a little bit over 3.5 weeks now. And prior to joining the city of Savannah, I served as the deputy county administrator for Broward County, Florida, which is down south, essentially Fort Lauderdale being the county seat. I spent basically 17 years with Broward County, but also spent some time as up in Atlanta serving as Fulton County's deputy county manager. And then I had a brief stint as deputy city manager in Coral Springs, Florida.
Got it.
I've been a lifelong public servant, pretty much working in the public sector since I was 17.
Got it. And how has that experience prepared you for the job that you're in today?
Well, I think that I've been very fortunate to work for really outstanding organizations such as Broward County, Coral Springs, Fulton County. And they've given me the exposure to all of these issues that we face here in Savannah, and whether it's crime, homelessness, social issues, affordable housing, economic development. I'm happy to say that my time with those other organizations has helped get me to this point where I think that I can successfully influence an outcome.
I think I read in your resume that you have spent time in the military.
I did.
Okay.
I did. So I joined the Army Reserves when I was 17, and I had a long career. Spent 23 years in the Army Reserves, retiring in 2008. As a master sergeant in E8, or I was a senior instructor, and I enjoyed all the time. I wish I could have stayed longer. I really miss it, but I enjoyed my time. Yeah.
And how has that experience helped shape who you are?
So that experience actually, and that's an interesting story because I finished my career as a senior instructor in an area of military operations that are known as civil military operations. And I like to describe that as the military's version of public administration. Oftentimes when, as a result of a natural disaster or as a result of combat operations, the military has to come in and essentially become the de facto government, whether on the national level or on the local level. So it's folks like me who come in wearing a uniform who actually perform those roles. And during combat operations, it's very important that we minimize any interference that civilians have with the military forces for their own safety, and at the same time we can't allow civilians to bog down the speed of battle. So it's important that we kind of keep those two elements separate. And in addition, we are bound by the laws of the Geneva Convention that say that we have certain obligations to civilian populations, and so civil affairs or civil military operations are designed to again protect the civilian population, but also meet our requirements under international law.
I think I read that you were a firefighter, or you're a training firefighter.
So I did go through the fire academy when I was down in Broward County, Florida. And in fact, there's my proof that I was there. So I did go through the fire academy. I did receive my full certification as a firefighter in the state of Florida.
Why did you do that?
I did it to prove a point. At the time, I was working with the county, the Department of Safety and Emergency Services. Fire Rescue happened to be one of the agencies under the department that I worked in, and so we had some differences of opinion between civilian administrators and folks that wore the uniform. And so one day I remember getting into a heated conversation with somebody about a certain financial decision, and comment was made that it was people like me that wear a suit and tie that can't appreciate what the fire service does. And and that really that hit me. It was like getting punched in the gut. And I said, you know what, you're right, and I appreciate that perspective that you bring. And I said, and I'm going to go through the fire academy, just so I can get a better understanding of the issues that firefighters are faced with on a daily basis. And so I went through the academy, graduated. I was class leader. And spent a lot of time both in Broward and Fulton, riding fire engines and so forth. But I was not assigned to a fire station and had primary, responsibilities as a firefighter.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I did go through the academy.
A lot of respect for that profession.
Oh, absolutely. They have a tough job. And listen, when you call 911 because your loved one is not feeling well, having a heart attack or whatever, those are the folks that you rely on, our first responders.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just glad that I had the opportunity to go through the academy and experience what they experienced. It's a tough job. It really is.
Right. Brief impressions of you. You strike me as a hands-on kind of guy. You certainly went through fire academy,
Yeah.
but I've seen you outside this building more than in. Is that your approach?
That is my approach. I like to say that you can't lead sitting behind a desk,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's important that you get out there and you experience firsthand the working conditions and issues that your staff is experiencing,
Mm-hmm.
and also going out there and meeting with representatives of the community firsthand, hearing it straight from them, meeting them, as opposed to relying on emails, even more so than phone calls these
Mm-hmm.
days. And so it's very dangerous to fall into that trap of just sitting behind this desk and just responding to emails all day. And I think it's very important for leaders in any organization to get out from behind the desk and actually be out there on the front lines. I like to say that I'm a macro manager as opposed to a micro manager. And so every opportunity I get to spend time out in the field, talking to employees, talking to people in the community, I like to take advantage of that.
Got it. You've been on the job for less than a month.
Yeah.
What are your initial impressions of Savannah and the organization?
Well, my initial impressions, I'm very happy and very pleased that I made the decision to come here to Savannah.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to, if I can, just tell you a story. My very first day on the job, unofficially, was, I remember it was a Sunday. I think it was October 9th to be exact. The city was just emerging from being hit with the effects of Hurricane Matthew, and I'll never forget this. As I'm coming into downtown Savannah, and I looked out the window of my car, and I see all these people working, sweeping sidewalks, cleaning the squares. And that really impressed me about Savannah as a community, because I've pretty much experienced about 12 hurricanes throughout my career, and I didn't see a whole lot of that in any of the communities that I worked in post hurricane, storm, or what have you. And that really impressed me. That showed me that there's a real love, there's a real connection between the community, the citizens of this great city, and the city itself. Mm-hmm. And that's very powerful. And that doesn't exist in a lot of cities. And so I was very impressed by that. I was also impressed by the city's reaction or response to the storm and the efforts of its employees to quickly restore those essential services so that we can all go about our business. And minimize the inconvenience. And here we are, almost 4 weeks after the storm hit, and I still have employees out there, and that's all they're doing. They're still helping us recover and clean up from the storm. And so I was very impressed by that. And I think city staff and the city as a community performed exceptionally well. And that was real striking, and it just resonates in the back of my mind.
Right.
I was very impressed.
Yeah. We're still sweeping up from that hurricane, but
Yep.
we're sort of moving forward.
Yeah, and these things take time.
Yeah.
My understanding is that it generated over 400 cubic yards of debris,
Yeah.
and you don't move all of that debris overnight.
Correct.
In fact, I think we've estimated this is a 4-month effort.
Got it. Once we sort of pivot to the next thing up on our plate, what's
Yeah.
going to be your focus moving forward?
My focus moving forward is going to be to work with the City Council on developing a long-term strategic plan for this organization and this community. And basically what I'm asking the City Council to do is help us identify where does Savannah want to be 5, 10, 20, 25 years down the road. Everything around us is changing. And it's important that we have a strategic plan that everyone buys into, everybody understands, and everybody understands where they fit into the overall puzzle. And then it's very important that we refocus the efforts of this organization on meeting those strategic priorities of the City Council and of the community. Because listen, we only have so much time and so much financial resources at our disposal, and it's paramount that we target those resources to achieve the maximum outcome that we're trying to achieve. And so we've got to be very disciplined, we've got to be very strategic, and we've got to be very focused on what it is that we do day in and day out. And so that may mean that we're going to be doing new things. It may mean that we're going to be doing things differently. And it may mean that we're no longer going to be doing things that we've been doing in the past.
Right. Got it. Well, it's been an exciting 4 weeks, speaking personally. And
it's been exciting for me as well. So I'm glad to hear that you're excited. I haven't run you off yet.
No, not quite yet. And I know the organization has been enjoying working with you and will continue to do so.
Well, I'm happy to be part of this organization.
Yeah. Well, anything else you'd like to add?
No, I mean, I said, I think right before I accepted this job that this is a great city with great people and great employees doing great things. And, we're going to continue doing great things, going into the future.
Great. Folks, that'll do it. Thank you for joining us. And I'd like to thank City Manager Rob Hernandez. And we'll let him get back to his job and you guys get back to your lives. So, thanks so much. Mm-hmm.